Jake Oettinger is set to make his 8th consecutive start as the Stars are dealing with multiple game-time decisions tonight against the Rangers. We'll preview New York and play Shooting Star on today's episode of Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Multiple game time decisions tonight for head coach Pete DeBoer. We'll update you on those as the Stars prepare for the New York Rangers at the American Airlines Center tonight. We'll play Shooting Star on a Friday edition of Locked On Stars as well, which is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. The Dallas Stars trying to turn a very mediocre homestand into an okay one here tonight with a W over a New York Rangers team that is absolutely reeling, but multiple game time decisions again as the flu continues to be a problem for the Dallas Stars. So let's update you on all the updates that we have from this morning on December 20th. Mason Marchment, he is one of those game time decisions. If you remember, he was dealing with something during the game against Toronto on Wednesday. If I had to assume, I would believe it was an upper body injury, but I do not want to play doctor, but he is dealing with something. He is one of the game time decisions tonight. The Stars did recall Lundkvist and Justin Hryckowian from the Texas Stars, which gives you an assumption that one of the forwards, if it's Marchment, maybe even another who we don't know about right now, could miss tonight's contest. So Hryckowian was brought up, and if you remember a few weeks ago, he was brought up. I can't remember exactly which game it was. We thought maybe he was going to make his NHL debut, but it did not happen. He was just the extra forward. So this could just be a call for reinforcements. It could be that he is starting tonight, depending on whether Mason Marchment can go or not. And Hryckowian has had a very, very good season down in Texas, has 23 points in 25 games, including 9 goals. Would love to see him. We saw him quite a bit in the preseason as well, and he made quite the impression during training camp and the preseason. Played at Northeastern for 3 years, put up some very, very good numbers there. His senior year had 43 points in 32 games. Also played for the Sioux City Musketeers in the USHL, along with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. So he's been around the block at 23 years of age. We'll see if he makes his NHL debut tonight. But of course, the Stars would love to have Marchment into the contest against a Rangers squad that is struggling, because Marchment has been a consistent scorer for Dallas this season. He's one of the few consistent scorers for the Stars. Lundkvist, of course, was just a paper transaction when they moved him and Petrovic back down to Cedar Park. So Bischel's back up, which is no surprise. He's been wonderful, Stars fans. He's been great. I'm curious your observations. Let me know in the comments below, but absolutely have loved his game, his impact on the Stars, because he does give Dallas something different. I thought he played his best game of his little short sample size on Wednesday against Toronto, in a game where Petrovic and Smith really, really struggled. And of course, the Stars could be without Harley and Lundkvist. We did not get specific mentions of them today from head coach Pete DeBoer, but I imagine those two are also a part of the game time decisions for Dallas. But Petrovic wasn't recalled, which is a good sign. So you have to feel maybe one of them is good to go. And then Brendan Smith could check in if possible. But from my understanding, not having to bring up Petrovic again is probably a good sign that either Nils or Harley's good to go. It feels like Lundkvist is probably the closest of the two returning, but he was fighting it on Monday when he played against the Caps. So who knows? It all takes its time to roll through the system. As I'm sure many of you know, when you get the flu, sometimes you just have to let it take its course, take as many painkillers as possible, antibiotics, and just flush the system. So we'll see if Harley or Lundkvist is good to go, but I would imagine they are a part of the game time decision. So there was x-rays on Mason Marchment. This comes from Bruce Levine. X-rays on Marchment were negative. So he's sore and is a game time decision. That's a more specific update, which is a really, really good sign that his x-rays were negative. So game time decisions, Mason Marchment, throwing Harley, throwing Lundkvist into that matter. Jake Oettinger making his 8th consecutive start. Matt Dumba will be out tonight. He's still week-to-week / day-to-day, if I'm not mistaken, unless anything's changed, but they didn't update us on Dumba, so I imagine he will be out tonight as well. Hryckowian brought up from the AHL along with Bischel. Of course, Bischel will play. I imagine Hryckowian, his NHL debut could be dependent on whether Marchment can go or not tonight. Jake Oettinger, 8th consecutive start, which I'm a bit surprised by after his very, very poor performance against Toronto on Wednesday. I would have imagined that Casey DeSmith would go tonight. They got him a period in that third period against the Leafs to get him some action. Thought he would have gotten the start tonight, but this will be the 8th consecutive start in 17 days now for Jake Oettinger. So they're giving him an option to bounce back. It's a huge spot because Dallas really needs 2 points tonight. It feels like a really, really big 2 points. And every game is big to some degree, but this one against a New York team that can't find a way to win right now, have to find a way to get something out of the contest. They're 3-7-0 in their last 10 games, or right around 500. So Dallas really, really needs 2 points here tonight, but that's easier said than done because Dallas hasn't played some of the worst teams in the NHL very well here this season. I'm curious if Maverick Bourque remains on the top line. They're giving him a look. I think they should try to move Robo a bit too. And I mentioned this a few months ago. In the next game, they just completely went off. But really, that's one of the maybe 3 games that top line has had dominant success throughout a game. It's time to move Robertson off the top line, or at least time to possibly remove him away from Roope Hintz. I discussed this, and it's time to find something different. And they reunited the trio, and they're good here and there, but it's not good enough. DeBoer knows it. Stars know it. It's time to move Robo somewhere else, put him with a different pair, and maybe it unlocks something, because it's really the one thing the Stars have not done yet. And we're still talking in December about how they need consistent goal scoring from their best players. It's time to break it up. It's time to try something else with 21. See if something else ignites him. Maybe playing with Stankoven and Jamie Benn, right? Like, who knows? I know you don't want to tinker too much with the experimenting because you're trying to win games, but it's imperative that Robo gets going. It's imperative that some of these guys get a look or can help impact the game at a different level. Because when Sam Steele, Oscar Beck, and Blackwell, your best line against a very good Leafs team, it's not a great sign. They were almost dominant in the game. And I mentioned Steele could have had 4 or 5 goals on the night because of the amount of shots he had, the amount of chances he created, because of his dogged work. I would love for him to get elevated up too. Maybe have him play alongside Duchesne and Marchment, right? But Maverick Bourque's getting a chance. We'll see if that is the case here again tonight. They played him with Robo and Roope at the start of the game, and then they kind of switched it. And Bourque he's taken some time to get comfortable. I think if you continue to surround him with some of the top 6 talent Dallas has, he can chip in a bit more offensively, but at the same time, if he is on that fourth line, you got to produce some. There's opportunities to produce. Look at what they did on Wednesday with Beck and Blackwell. There's opportunities. You have to do it and earn some of those spots. DeBoer's not going to just give it to him consistently until he proves otherwise, that he needs to be up with some top six talent. And I know there's some frustrations from Stars fans that want him to be in some better positions of scoring. And I hear those, but he has to earn it at the same time. They're not going to just consistently throw him up there with Rope and Robo. And if they're not, scoring as much as this is almost counterintuitive. If you don't produce anything in, a period and a half, well, they're going to break you up. Like, that's just, what can you do for me lately is sort of the mindset, especially at this point in time when Dallas is already struggling to find scoring. They are not going to just sit there and allow it to marinate. It's December now. They can't allow some things to marinate, but they got to move some things around. I mean, 34-year-old Matt Duchene's the leading scorer for the Dallas Stars. He's got 30 points. And Robo has 21. I mean, it's almost surprising as 21, but only 7 goals this season. So there's a lot of room for improvement, and Wyatt Johnson's in that category, man. And you all know how much I love Wyatt Johnson. I was like, okay, he is going to have a banger year. Just hasn't quite happened so far this season, but plenty of time to change. Let's jump in to a preview of the New York Rangers. Multiple game time decisions tonight for the Dallas Stars. Jake Oettinger making his 8th consecutive start. We'll preview the Rangers in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Plus, this holiday season, they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas and offering 2 free picks in December. And when those picks hit, Prize Picks makes it easy to cash out. You can get your money in as fast as 15 minutes. This week on Prize Picks, you can look at the hockey board. They got Jack Hughes, more than 4 shots on goal. Artemi Panarin for more than 1 assist. He is day-to-day tonight. However, it's so simple to make your picks and have fun with friends with potentially cashing out huge numbers. So go ahead, download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even have to win. And that's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks, run your game. Keandre Miller will be out tonight for the New York Rangers as he is dealing with an upper body injury. He did not travel with the Rangers and will miss tonight. Panarin also an upper body injury, and this came out on the 15th. He was practicing on Thursday, so yesterday remains day-to-day with an upper body injury, so looks like he will not be in the mix here this evening, which is always a good sign for Dallas. Panarin's a pretty world-class player, but the Rangers have fallen off a cliff here over the last month. Panarin's their leading scorer with 36 points, and they are dealing with a lack of scoring too. They're in a sort of similar position as Dallas in terms of their scoring. Panarin has 15, and William Cooley, can tell me if you've ever heard of that name. I really haven't until this season when I picked him up on fantasy because he's been on quite a little tear. He has 11 goals and 23 points in 31 games. Him and Panarin are the only 2 double-digit goal scorers for New York. They're in a very similar position where they need more out of some of their better players. They're 22nd in the NHL in terms of goals for. Of course, it's not as drastic or I should say it's much more drastic than what Dallas is currently dealing with, but their goaltending has not been what you would expect out of Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick. Get a load of these numbers. Shesterkin 10-12-1, 3.04 goals against, 908 save percentage. And Quick is 5-3, 2.47 goals against, and .915 save percentage. But of course, Quick is just a backup, and Shesterkin is starting a lot more. So not what you would really expect out of Shesterkin, who is an elite goaltender in this league. Their power play at 21% is about middle of the league. Penalty kill is brilliant. They're second at 87%. They win a lot of draws, haven't scored a lot this season, and they're still giving up quite a bit. But 3-7 in their last 10. Get a load of the opponents first and some of these results. Lost to Philly, win against Montreal, lost to New Jersey, good squad, of course. Pittsburgh, a win, lost to Seattle, lost to Chicago. They beat Buffalo, lost to Kings, St. Louis, and Nashville. So 3 straight against Western Conference teams, and they're about to play 3 straight here now tonight against the Central Division. And they have already made some trades. Of course, Trouba was a big story a few weeks ago. I never really got to sit down and talk about this. Thank God the Stars stayed as far away as possible from Jacob Trouba. Saw some people out there that were interested in having Trouba come to Dallas. No thank you at all. He's declining in his mid-30s. Stars have plenty of those on their roster they do not want to deal with. And Trouba is a ghost and shell of what he once used to be. And he's physical. Stars already brought in physical mid-30s defensemen to their lineup in the offseason. They got plenty. Trouba, as whatever you think about him, I think it says a lot that the captain of the New York Rangers, the owners were trying to get him out of there as quickly as possible. I think that's not a very good sign that their captain and leader wants, they want him gone, right? Like as soon as the door opens, they want to get him out of there. Don't think that's a good sign. Don't think they need to bring that into the fold because he really doesn't help them. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on Jacob Trouba. I know that's a little late, but I figured I'd address it because there were some people that were interested in him, and stay as far away from him, have fun in Anaheim. Anyways, to get back, 3-7 in the last 10. Trouba's gone. We've already heard about Kreider getting kind of shopped. Capo Kakko was moved to Seattle here this past week for Will Borgen and a couple of picks, which felt like quite a bit. But Kakko is a former second overall pick. You're going to garner something. So Kakko is gone now, and who knows what's really going on with the Rangers. But as I mentioned, struggling to find depth scoring, really struggling to find scoring from some of their best players. Who does that remind you of? And they're not getting the stellar goaltending from Shesterkin like they usually get. So it's it'll be a fun one tonight. It'll be the battle of, I guess, whose best players can chip in offensively here tonight. It's a 7:00 puck drop at the American Airlines Center as the Stars will look for a bounce back win. And they usually get it. 7:00 puck drop, 15-15-1. The Rangers they are outside a playoff position. Dallas is still sitting there in that third spot in the Central Division at 19-12-0. In total goals now, Dallas has slipped a bit. They have 100 this season, and that is 13th of 32. They were in the top 5 for the first few months of the season. Goals per game, they're in a okay position. It's 11. They have dropped, so it's becoming a sample. And outside of the game where they put up 6 against Calgary, 3 with an extra attacker goal, 3, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3. That's sort of where they're living around. And Vegas too was an extra attacker goal. That they need more. They need more. This is a trend. This is a trend, and it's been happening, and it has to change. It really does. Otherwise, Stars are going to be a very, very mediocre team. And they could slip to that. There's plenty of time left. They're really tied for third in the Central. Colorado's got 34 points, or 38, excuse me. Dallas does have 3 games in hand. Okay, I'll give them that. But let's not sit here and act like Dallas can just bank points on some of these bad opponents. That is not a guarantee for the Dallas Stars here this season. And they're only, 6 points out of second. So there's context to these things, but they're not playing like the Wild, and they're not playing like Winnipeg. We certainly have not seen that from the Dallas Stars, but their goal differential is still pretty good at plus 21. I mean, it's second in the West. They're a weird team this year, Stars fans. They seem weird, but that's okay. We can deal with weird. It makes things interesting. All righty, here's a little preview of the New York Rangers, as we always do. On a game day, we play Shooting Star. Get your picks in. Of course, vote via the YouTube community tab, and you guys do a wonderful job of cooperating with me on that. So Shooting Star is next. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Time for America's favorite segment here on Locked On Stars, Shooting Star. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're almost at 3,500 subscribers on YouTube. Let's continue to pump those numbers up as well. Plan to put out an episode tomorrow or possibly late here on a Friday night talking about tonight's game against the Rangers. I certainly owe you guys, an episode here or two. So we'll get one out for you on the weekend following, hopefully, a Stars win over New York. It's time for your Shooting Star pick, and I have been pretty abysmal at this so far this season, but you just need to see one go in, and then the floodgates start to roll. We're going with a defenseman who should not be a game time decision tonight. I hope he's going to play, but he's been logging a lot of minutes, played very, very strongly against Toronto on Wednesday. I'm going with Miro. He's had some jump. Give me number 4. Hopefully he can pot home a power play goal or something, because he needs power play points very, very badly. The Stars do in general. So I'm going with number 4 tonight for my Shooting Star pick. Let me know yours in the comments below. And as always, be sure to cast your vote on the YouTube community tab. I'm really intrigued to see if Hryckowian goes tonight. He was a fun player to watch during the preseason, and he's a fun name to say as well. I'm sure Daryl Razor Ray will have an absolute field day with that on Victory Plus. But I'm kind of intrigued to see if Hryckowian goes tonight. Who knows? Maybe Bort gets a healthy scratch. That is always a possibility to work Hryckowian in. Mason Marchment is a game time decision. I'm sure Lundkvist and Harley is as well, as the flu bug continues to absolutely run rampant here through the Dallas Stars. This is an important game tonight. They all are, but this one feels like a massive 2 points on the line. Stars need to try to twist the knife, so to speak, against New York, who can really not figure out anything or find what they used to be. It's almost insane that they won the President's Trophy 5 months ago, or whatever it is, six months ago. And now they're almost fire selling everybody. And it looks like a complete dumpster fire. So important 2 points for Dallas, nonetheless. That'll do it for a Friday edition of Locked On Stars. Wanted to update you on the multiple game time decisions tonight. Jake Oettinger making his 8th consecutive start. Boy, does he need a bounce back. and the Stars need 2 points. Have a wonderful Friday, Stars fans. I'll be back tomorrow sometime this weekend getting you a reaction to tonight's game. And what a week it's been here on Locked On Stars. It's an inconsistent roller coaster with the 2024-25 Dallas Stars this season. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you on a tomorrow episode of Weekend. And as always, so long, Stars fans.